There's nothing like getting a word of the week, joy, and then getting sucker punched with a blast of the blahs, which is actually what happens. I pick these words and then I have to live them, and I challenge myself to learn something from the stuff I go through, and then I share it with you. It's not earth-shaking stuff. Millions of other voices you can listen to, but thanks for choosing to listen to mine today. So the word was joy, and it was Mother's Day, as you recall, and all of a sudden I started thinking. And that's where the blahs start, how you're thinking, your stinking thinking. And I started to consider, well, I miss my mom today. And then here's what's fun about thinking. You think one thought and then it attracts other ones just like it, only of a different variety, but equally negative. And then it was like, wow, I never was a mom. I'm 55. That ship sailed a heck of a long time ago. Why am I being sad about it now? And then it evolved into, I'll never know what it's like to have, who's going to take care of me in my old age? Really? And this is how it goes. So I hope I made you chuckle this morning, because we're not all joyful all the time, but the real question is, how do we get back in alignment with joy when we're not? Because the truth is, we have a limited time on this earth, and we might as well have fun and be happy while we're here. So I realized that one of my favorite teachers, Esther Hicks, Abraham Hicks, always says, just distract yourself. Either take a nap or do something fun. Think about the next best feeling thought. And my answer was to simply shift gears completely. Don't think about the mom thing, even though it's Mother's Day. And then there's, on Sunday nights, I've been watching American Idol. And every time Alejandro sings, just something happens to me. It's like I feel like I'm watching a genius in front of our very eyes, and we're watching his star unfold, and it just makes me so happy, and it gets me out of myself. Fun things that get you out of yourself and that keep you from overthinking. And then I played a game with my friend Anita, and we decided to play the game, the what if game, but only use all the what ifs that were great. Like, what if we won the lottery, and how would that feel, and what would we do, and what would you buy, and who would you pay their mortgage off, and then, oh my goodness, what if I got a speaking engagement with such and such an organization, and I had 10,000 people and I could encourage them, and what if people actually responded to my Facebook post? Thank you, the 3 or 4 of you that actually do. And so here's the thing, we can look at what is and get stuck in the what isness of it, not realizing that there are ripple effects. Every time I want to just pack this in and say, Brenda, why are you doing this? There's plenty of people that encourage people out there. Your voice isn't any different than anybody else's, but the truth is I'm different, I'm me. There's no other Brenda. And every time I feel like saying, bag it, I get an email from someone who doesn't post on this page, and they say, you know what, it was just what I needed to hear. Thank you for lifting my spirits today. So don't get caught on the what isness of what things appear as you can see and hear and taste and smell and touch them. Because there's a whole bunch of stuff going on that you can't see. And plugging into that frequency of the unseen, where your inner being is always loving you, always rooting for you, that God, Source, the Holy Spirit is always on your side, always adoring you, always loving you, never judging you, never feeling bad for you. You're never going to get it done, and you're never going to get it wrong, because it's all for your learning. Oh, if you just play that game of reciting as Esther calls it, a rampage of positive affirmations, all of a sudden you find yourself feeling maybe not joyful, but a little less poopy. You know, there is the emotional scale, and there are the heights of it, but you can't jump from poopy to ecstasy. You can go from poopy to not so bad, to contented, to eager and hopeful, to, and then all of a sudden you can work your way up that ladder. The good news is you never have to stay down in the dumps. The key is always between your ears and what you're saying to yourself and what you're allowing your mind to think. So I hope that that encouraged some of you who maybe said to the word joy, bah, humbug, as I did until I got back in alignment. So what do we need after joy? Actually, I'd like to stick with joy, but let's see what else. What do we need these next 2 weeks? Oh, I'm asking for a word for all of us. And the answer is, gee, you know what? This is my last word I am picking in this apartment complex. Remember when I moved here, guys? It was a whole life change for me. And then next thing you know, life is changing again. So the next video, it'll be a whole different environment with a new backdrop and no boxes in the corner. Aww. The new word for the next 2 weeks is love. And I want to encourage all of you to spend a little time looking in the mirror and saying things that you love about yourself. I talked with a girlfriend recently and she's like, why do I always attract the bad boys? And, you know, she was answering her own question and her response really was, you know, because I don't realize that I'm worth better. Oh, if only we could settle into our own worthiness. Love on ourselves a little bit. Soothe ourselves. Ease. Choose the path of least resistance. And choose love. Knowing that, as I said earlier, your inner being is always in a state of love. It's when we get all bollocks and out of sorts and tweaked. Oh, here's a great example. I love this example. So, you know, we bought this new house and I want to be helpful, even though physical labor is not my thing. And my job was to hose off the lanai. The lanai, for those of you who do not live in Florida, is an outdoor covering that surrounds the pool. And it gets dirty, so you hose it off so it looks nice again. So I'm hosing it off, and I'm getting more water on me than anything else. But it was fun. It was a hot day. And the power washer is great. It just goes boom, and everything just in its way goes. And then all of a sudden it stopped. And I'm like, hey, you know, and you're looking, you're like, what's going on? You're supposed to be spouting water. And finally I looked over my shoulder and I realized that it had gotten tangled up. And the hose was not able to do its job. It was shut off. It was pinched off from the source. And so I had to go back, untwist it, which meant that it was no longer pinched off, and boom, I was back in business. And so when we pinch ourselves off from source, everything feels like an uphill battle. It feels like you're walking through quicksand. You feel sluggish and unmotivated. You get the blahs. But the good news is, source is always flowing. All you have to do is go back and untwist it. And start thinking the thoughts that source is thinking about you, and you will find yourself flowing in love again. Let's all be in love for the next couple of weeks. Don't think about the things that make you sad. What good does that do you? or the thoughts that torment you or make you feel regret or shame or unworthy. What? What's it doing for you? No. Think about those things that are true to your core, to your inner being, to your maker, to your God. And how do you know? Because they feel good. So here's to feeling good and feeling the love. Please say hi in the comments. It will help me to know that you are out